Good morning. It's Thursday, and I'm going to change things up a little bit today on Happy on social media. Normally on a Thursday, I'd cover another tip, things that we can do to improve our practice and better getting more out of social media in a happy kind of way. Instead, I'm going to flip over to my Monday type of schedule and share a bit of a personal story. It's been a busy week, and the year has been going very fast and furious. And last night, as I was wrapping up my first half of the day, around 5 or 6 o'clock, I'd already eaten dinner. I'd ventured out to the store and grabbed some food and things like that so that I could come home and jump into essentially my second shift. I work from home, and lately I've kind of been working this schedule that goes from about 7:30 until 4 or 4:30, a break for an hour and a half or so, and then back at it again for another shift that goes till about midnight or just a little after. So I was getting geared up. I was all ready. I'd gotten a bunch of comfort food. There's certain types of food that help me think. This isn't necessarily food that's good for me, but it does, it spurs my brain to get going a little bit. And so I'd picked up all sorts of comfort food that fuels me a little bit. Gotten home, gotten it all unpacked, and stepped outside real quick. I was checking the mail, going out front, and there was a neighborhood cat on my front porch. I've seen the cat before. It's a great big fluffy kind of bit of a tomcat, real big head. It's got like a half a mustache that's all white, and the rest of the cat's gray with white socks. And it's been relatively friendly, but it's a neighborhood cat, mostly an outdoor cat. I don't think it belongs to anybody. Where we live, there's quite a few feral cats, and this might be a feral cat, or it might just be somebody's outdoor cat full-time. Difficult to say. We're kind of right at the edge of a wooded area. We are technically in the town limits, but I'm literally right at the edge. It's my house, I'm in town. My backyard, it's in the woods. And so we get a little bleed over. And I've seen this cat before. It's been relatively friendly to me. It's, kind of rubs against your ankles as you're walking around and stuff like that. And I've petted it before several different times. My kids have petted it. So I'm a friendly sort when it comes to animals in general. Reach down, petting its head, and it's kind of rolling over and flopping up and kind of exposing its belly and looking friendly and yawning and stuff like that. And it gets back up, and I stroked its head again and kind of rubbed rubbing the cat just kind of down the back of its shoulders. And I noticed that the cat felt a little bit thinner than I'd noticed before. It's a relatively muscular cat, actually, But as I was rubbing it, I realized I was kind of feeling a little thin. I could kind of feel its ribs just a little bit, and it's been wintertime, and some of the neighbors they help some of the neighbor cats or the outdoor cats or the feral cats. None of us never know necessarily to sustain themselves because we are at the edge of the woods, and so this kind of helps create a buffer. For one thing, from other unknown feral cats coming in and taking over a territory. They may be less healthy. They may have some diseases or something like that. So it's kind of the devil that you know. And it also kind of keeps a buffer against some of the wilder animals that would kind of encroach into the neighborhood too. And so it's kind of one of those, if you call in the animal control to remove the pets, or these animals, whichever way it is, you might accidentally get somebody's pet that isn't wearing a collar, and cats don't often wear collars. Or you might remove a feral cat and create a power vacuum in the feral cat world of territories and things like that. I'm not that much of a cat person, but I kind of understand the dynamics of the situation, and so it's kind of one of those let it kind of flow sort of things. And I was noticing this cat was a little thinner than the last time I'd seen it a couple weeks back. And we've had a couple extra cold weeks. And so I was just thinking about maybe giving it some kind of treat or something like that, just to, help it get through the day and be a little healthy. It's, another one of those things. A few neighbors leave outdoor foods and heating pads for some of the feral cats too. I don't quite go to that extent, but if you keep it healthy enough, then it's less likely to get into somebody's trash or tear into something or eat something that's not as safe and then develop a disease and bring problems back to the neighborhood. But I was just kind of petting it, and as I was petting its hindquarters, after noticing the ribs were starting to shine through, and it's a real shaggy, fluffy cat, so it looks big and fluffy and relatively healthy, but you could kind of feel it wasn't as healthy as it had been. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden the cat was upside down and had grabbed at me, and I was pulling my hand back, and the cat went flying to the side of my house a little bit, about 3 feet away, and hit the vinyl siding, and then kind of landed and took off, and I realized it had bit me on the hand, the little devil, and it kind of punctured my hand right here and here, and it got pretty deep. I think it got into a tendon or a bone or something like that. So immediately, I fell into this situation of, I can't believe I did that. I let this cat bite me. I wasn't careful enough. This is a feral, probably cat, a neighborhood cat, and now I've got a cat bite. Which even with a healthy house cat, if you get bit by a cat, that can be some of the more dangerous types of bites to get. There's with infections and things like that. And so I'm banging my head, thinking, of all the dumb things that I could have done or situations I could have gotten myself into. Doing something that I've done, a bunch of different times over the years, and hadn't had a problem with it. My whole life, I've never been bitten by a cat such that it got a puncture wound before, and so I was feeling kind of like, not this. And suddenly, I'm coming inside, I'm treating the wound, I'm pouring peroxide on it first, and then I'm putting. I was looking around for stuff, and I've recently kind of redone my cupboards, and I wasn't finding the triple antibiotic cream that I thought I had somewhere. It may be here. I may have lost it. I don't know. I wasn't finding a couple different things, and I did find the peroxide, poured that on there. So I tried this technique of I cut open a tea bag, and I got the ground up tea leaves, and I got them a little wet with water, and I kind of put it on the wound like a poultice. I've used this type of thing. It works well with tobacco also, if you happen to have tobacco. I haven't in decades, but for bee stings, it can help extract the poison to put kind of this muddy poultice kind of thing on near a wound. And so I was hoping to extract some of the saliva poison essentially from this cat, while I then try to think of, what am I going to do next? Do I need to get to the doctor and get a shot? Tetanus, something else? The cat does not have rabies, and so I don't have to worry about that. But I was, all these different things are going through my head. I remembered there was some rubbing alcohol down in the garage, so I went and got that and poured that on it too. This whole time I was talking to a friend of mine. And so I've got my phone up to my ear talking because my earbuds, my own house cat had chewed through my earbuds a week or so ago, and I hadn't replaced them yet. I'd actually come back from the store with a sample pair that I wanted to try. There's a specific type of Apple earpods that I like, the ones with wires. And they're out of stock after Christmas, and I just haven't gotten around to ordering them. But I was looking for a temporary pair just to listen to an audiobook that I was finishing up. And so I bought this pair, and it didn't work. I'd already tried that and realized that I bought this pair of headphones for nothing. A lot of the earbud type things that are available, they just don't fit my ears. And so it was just kind of turning into this cascading night where my night kind of got a little out of my control. My friend, she mentioned that I could try some tea tree oil, essential oil, if I had it. It's a natural thing from Maluka, something or other. I forget the name of it. That can be used to extract poisons and other types of toxins and things like that might get under the skin. I didn't have any, but there's a Food Lion 2 blocks away, the grocery store. I walked over to it, and I was looking for Neosporin, triple antibiotic cream, or something like that. Or they didn't have either of those. They were out of both of those, but they did. Amazingly, they had tea tree oil. So I got that. Walked out of the store, poured some on my wound, which was at that time relatively fresh, and then kind of walked home. I packed it kind of in ice and took some ibuprofen to keep swelling down, and I didn't get anything else done the rest of the evening, really. It was my right hand. That's my typing hand. It's a little sore today. Like I said, I think it got, maybe nicked a tendon or a bone. It feels kind of like one of those deep bone bruises today. And I'm lucky, if you're watching the video of this, it's not real swollen. It's just, it looks like a little scratch at this point. It's a puncture wound, but it is kind of deep. And so I've got strength to hold things, but I don't have lateral strength at the moment for whatever reason. It hurts a little bit. So I'm not going to be flipping pancakes with a frying pan or anything like that. Not something I am capable of doing anyway, but just trying to demonstrate what I can and can't do. And I'm typing super slow today, and I really needed to dive in and get some stuff done last night, finishing up my second shift, and it just didn't happen. Woke up this morning and realized that I had left a website that I was working on for a client in a semi-live state. Instead of kicking it over to a staging site, I had initially done some work. I needed them to see it real quick, and then I was going to push it over, and I forgot to do the push over. So it kind of sat there with some fake dummy data or text and a couple of generic stock images at the bottom of their website overnight. It's a new site. They don't really get any traffic too much yet. And there's a number of areas of the site that are broken. I'm just starting in on this thing, or undeveloped and not built out, because that's how I kind of took it over. But I had added to it now, and so this morning then I'm having to make up for lost time just to get caught up with where I would have been last night if I hadn't let life happen in that particular way. And there's no moral, there's no lesson to the story. I'm kind of paying attention to the wound. It hasn't gotten inflamed or anything like that. So far, I'm extremely lucky and happy about that. And then I've kind of been dealing with it with humor in general. I've been making a lot of cat people jokes and turning it into a werecat kind of thing like that. And no superpowers have actually come my way since being bitten by the free-range feral cat that was in my front porch. But that's how it goes. So life happened a little bit, and now it's time for me to get back on with my regularly scheduled workflow. I hope you enjoy your day and your weekend too.